Hi guys, welcome to my channel. On today's video, I'll be showing you how I gained admission to Canada, and I'll be taking you through a step-by-step process in how I did this and then how you too can achieve your dream of studying in Canada. Today I'm not showing you a vlog, but it's going to be a sit-down video. So why don't you subscribe to my channel, like it, share with your friends, and leave a comment in the comment section to let me know what you gained and what you gathered from this video. All right, thank you so much. I actually applied to 3 universities in Canada and I gained admission to 2 of them. So I'll be taking you through a step-by-step process in how I did this. So first of all, I read business in my secondary school education, and I also did banking and finance. I attended the University of Professional Studies, UPSA, and I read banking and finance. So I knew I wanted to do an MBA or a business related course. But what kind of was discouraging me in the beginning was that a lot of people were saying for an MBA you need to do GRE or GMAT, and then they always top it up to say that they are like those exams are very difficult. But I knew that there are also universities in Canada that run the MBA program without you having to write the GRE or GMAT exams. So first of all, when I was searching for the school, the first thing I was like, when I put it in the search engine, Google search, I put it in the search engine, MBA in Canada without GRE or GMAT, because I didn't want to write the exams. I mean, I wanted a don't laugh at me, but I didn't want to write that exam, so that is what I put in the search engine. And then you will get it. You don't need an agent to take you through this process. You don't need anyone to help. You can, as long as you can read and write, as long as you own a phone and you know how to operate it, you can do this. You don't need to go through any agency. Okay. If you're going to do a graduate program, this shouldn't be a difficult task to do. So first of all, you need to find a school. But even before you find a school, you have to decide what course that you would want to study. When I was deciding what to study, I was torn between doing something fashion related or going into business. Okay, but finally I decided to do a business course I decided to study a business related course. Okay, so when I put that in the search engine, I applied for my school in 2020. Before I go on, let me let you know that if you want to study in Canada, give yourself some time. Right now, if we are in September, don't rush the process and say I want to study I want to move to Canada in January, because sometimes the processes can be longer than expected, which can end up being frustrating. So the best thing to do is to give yourself some time. I applied for the school in October 2022. I came to Canada 2024. Okay, so I was applying for fall semester. So when I was applying for school in October 2022, I was applying for fall semester, which is September 2023. Because from what I had heard, it takes time. It takes time for the school to respond and you to gain admission. It takes time for you to gather your documents together. It takes time for you to apply for visa. After you apply for visa, it can take time. So it's better you just give yourself enough room. Don't listen to any agent that will be telling you you can end up being in Canada in the next 3 months. It's possible, but the likelihood is very thin. It's just good to give yourself enough room so that if there are any uncertainties, there's room to cover up for it. Okay, so let me go on. So like I was saying, I applied for my school. I actually applied, let me check. I wrote this down. Okay, so I actually applied for school 26th October 2022, and I gained admission 19th December 2022. So you see the time gap. So when I applied, when I searched, like I told you, I did a search and I didn't want to write GRE or GMAT. So I got a number of schools from that search. And from that search, first of all, after you've decided what you want to study, the next thing is deciding the school that offers the program that you want to study. Okay. The next thing, and very important, is to find out if the school is a designated learning institution. That is very important, because if the school is not a designated learning institution, you can't even apply for visa with that school, because the DL is usually called DLI. So a DLI institution is an institution that is approved to host international students. So if the school is not a DLI, you shouldn't even, that should be the first thing you look out for when you're applying for a school. Once you've decided a school, or you have a list of schools, check if the school is a designated learning institution. If you're also hoping to work in Canada after your studies, you also have to check if the school has PGWP, that is postgraduate work permit. Okay, if the school has PGWP, then that means that after your school, you can stay in Canada and work for a period of time, depending on your length of study. I know someone who came to Canada. When did he come? He came this year. He actually came this year. And then there was a time randomly I was just asking him how he's doing and how school is going. He said his school doesn't have PGWP. Like, that's very, very unfortunate. You wouldn't want to find yourself in that situation, especially after you paid for acceptance fee, or you've even paid part of the tuition. So first of all, check if the school has DLI and the school gives you PGWP. Okay, so after you've done that, now you would want to check the requirements of the university. What does the school require? You have to make sure that you check the requirements to know if you have those documents. If you don't have those documents, don't check. Those documents are not difficult to get. So for me, when I checked, like I told you, I applied to 3 universities. University of Windsor, have I mentioned this already? University of Windsor, Trent University, and Vancouver Island University. So you are choosing your schools. You also have to determine which province that you would want to be in. There are a lot of provinces in Canada. They all have like different weather, different cost of living. So you would want to do a little research. Applying for school actually takes a lot of time, and you need to dedicate. If you are working full time, you can dedicate your weekends, and then do all this research. It will help you in the process. So you also have to check which province you would want to be in, the weather condition in that province, the living condition in that province. All that would influence your decision as you go on. Okay, so you may have a long list of schools that you'd want to be in, but as you do these checks, like, it narrows your search down. And then another thing that you would want to also know, check the tuition fee of the university and see if you'll be able to fund it, whichever way that you would want to fund the fees. You can apply for as many schools as you want, as long as you can afford it. As at the time that I was applying for the schools, it was $100. The application fee was $100, and I applied for 3 schools, which is about, I think one of them was less than $100. So it's like maybe $280 for the 3 schools. That's at the time that I was applying for the schools. The Canadian dollar to the city was $8. Right now it's about $10. So you have to look at all this when you're deciding which school you're applying to and how many you'll be applying. So after I decided how the schools that I wanted to apply, I checked the requirements of each school. The requirements may kind of cut across the schools, even though some schools may slightly differ. So when I was applying for the school, the requirements were, the documents that I needed to submit was a recommendation letter from any of my lecturers during my undergrad, my transcripts, my resume or a CV, and then letter of intent or letter of introduction, and then English proficiency letter, certificate of completion, and then my passport. So for the reference letter, what I do, I told you I attended I attended University of Professional Studies. So I was still in contact with one of my lecturers from UPS. So she just asked me to meet her up in school, and then she would help me get into contact with one of my other lecturers who would help me to get the recommendation letter. So with the recommendation letter, I didn't get it directly. Even though she had written it, it still had to go through a system in the school. And I remember I paid I remember I paid 20 CDs. I almost said dollars. I remember I paid 20 CDs for, was it one letter? I'll check and get back I'll check and put it in the description. And then also the next requirement was a transcript. I already had my certificate, so I had to go back to the school. I mean, if you're ready to do this, getting these things is very easy. When you're back home, you feel like I have to know somebody in the school. But then because people keep on traveling and people keep on in Japan, there's a system in place for that. So just walk into the school, ask for where you can get your transcript done. There's already a system in place. It's easy to get. I think I paid, was it another 20 CDs? It's not expensive. I think I paid another 20 CDs to get it printed or something like that. And then it took about, yes, so this is another reason why you would also want to start your process early. It took about a week for me to get my transcript. And then all this also depends on whether your university is on vacation or not. Because sometimes when they're on vacation, it makes the process a bit longer. You know how the system is sometimes. But for one of the universities, which is Trent University, they required that I didn't, for Vancouver Island University, I had to get a transcript and then get like a PDF version and send it to them. But for Trent University, they wanted the school to send the transcripts to them. It shouldn't come from me, it should come from my university. And this is where the challenge was. So first of all, I had to go there about 3 times just to get this done. And luckily I was in Accra by then. So the first time they sent the transcript, the school said, Trent University said they didn't receive it. So I had to go back to UPSC and get it done. When I went, I told the man to copy me in the man in charge of it. I told him to copy me in the mail. He sent it the second time. He sent it to the wrong email address. So he copied me. He sent it to the wrong email address. And funny enough, the time that I went, the day I went, there wasn't the same day that he sent the email. So he sent the transcript to the wrong email address. So when I received the email, I knew that this wasn't the email address that he was supposed to send it to. So I went back to the university and I told him that, the school said they've not received it. And he was showing me like, see, madam, see, I've sent it. And I told him that no. I think that the mistake was was a slight mistake. Instead of .ca, he put dot something, like he put the dot at the wrong place. So he went to the wrong email address. And luckily for me, because he copied me, because he was insisting that he had sent the email to the school. And luckily because because they wouldn't give you access to their computer just like that. But because he copied me in the email, it was easy for me to track where the mistake was. So I pointed it out to him and then he sent it finally. So that is sometimes that's some of the headaches that comes with applying for school. Yeah, so after they sent the transcripts, you have to send your CV as well. For a graduate student, and depending on the program that you are offering, especially if you want to study in that same line. I'm not an immigration consultant, but it would be nice to have your CV or all the work that you've done back home kind of related to the course that you're going to study. If it is not related, don't worry at all. If it's not related, if the work that you've done is not related to the course that you're going to study, don't worry about it. This is when now you explain yourself in your letter of intent. So the letter of intent is a letter that you write to the school that you're applying to let them know why you want to study the course that you want to study and how it will help you in your career. You know how it is sometimes where you studied political science, but you end up working, all your work experience is in banks in Ghana. So don't worry about it. So the letter of intent is where you now explain how this new how this course is going to help you in your career, or even if you want to switch career path. It is in this letter of intent that you explain to the school, letting them know how this program is going to benefit your future career. You get it? Yes. So that is why you need the letter of intent. And this letter of intent is not for visa. This letter of intent is different from the statement of purpose. Statement of purpose is when you're applying for visa. We'll come back to that, but this is letter of intent. People call it letter of intent or letter of introduction. They're all the same thing. So after the letter of intent, another document that you need is English proficiency letter. Don't be scared when we mention these documents. They're all very easy to get. Very, very easy to get. Before you start the process, it looks so far-fetched. But once you start, you realize that these things are very easy to get. As long as you studied in Ghana or you studied in an English-speaking country, you don't need to worry about writing IELTS. You don't need to worry about it because it's just to prove that you can speak and read in English. As that studied in Ghana, all you need to do, what I needed to do was to prove that I can speak and I can write English. So I went back to UPSC. Like I said, if you want these letters, it's very easy to get. Just walk to any office and tell them I want a proof of English proficiency. They'll direct you to the office. I don't remember the offices. I would have told you. If you attended UPSC, this might be relevant to you. Okay, so that building, I don't remember, they've renamed the buildings too, so I don't even remember the name of the building, but it has the stairs like this. The stairs are outside. Before you get to LBC, the building that we used to pay our fees, is it? I think so. Yeah, but if it's not relevant to you, you can skip this part. So once you start looking for these documents and you enter the school, it's very easy to find. So with the English proficiency letter, it is, once you go to the school, it is already printed because there are lots of people, like I said, that are traveling all the time. So with the letter, let me see if I'll find my English proficiency. Okay, so I found my English proficiency letter and I'll just read. So I went back to the school. I went back to my university and asked them for English proficiency letter because I knew that because I was taught in English, I didn't have to write IELTS. So I went back to the school and they gave me a letter with my name on it and my student ID. And they said, this is to certify that the above mentioned was a bona fide student of the University of Professional Studies from this period to this period. The official language and medium of instruction in all schools in Ghana is the English language. Miss, my surname, was therefore instructed in English for the duration of her studies at UPSC. And they signed it for me. That was it. So you don't need to worry about writing IELTS or think too much about getting the proof of English proficiency. Some schools may require you to have WES evaluation. Check your school to find out if they require it. Don't spend money on what you may not need in the process. And then lastly, your passport. Before you start applying for school, get your passport. Okay? You know how the passport processing can be very tedious in Ghana. I remember watching a video where a lady was giving a testimony and she said she's gained admission to a school, and like she was giving testimony that she's gained admission to a school abroad and she was thanking God, and which is very beautiful, and that she's praying that she's now going to apply for this passport. So she's praying that her passport will arrive on time. See, don't let this one become a prayer topic. Apply for it on time. It can stress you. The passport process can really stress you. apply it, just put it down. You can start using it for ID in the meantime, but apply for your passports. Don't wait till you really need it before you start applying for it, because the process can be very like overwhelming. So apply for your passport. And in this one, I was applying for the school, they required me to have, like, they required my passport as well, because they wouldn't want to give me admission when I don't even have a passport to certify that I can travel. So first of all, get your passport and then apply. Yeah, so I've been talking a lot, but I hope this helps. So let me just take you through like the list again of the things that I used to apply. A recommendation letter, transcript, resume, letter of intent or letter of introduction, English proficiency letter, certificate of I didn't mention that, but certificate of completion, they wanted that as well. Then West evaluation if needed, and then a passport. Okay, then pay application fee. That is what I used to gain admission. But how I actually gained admission, I'll be reading my letter of intent in the next video. So why don't you subscribe? Because if you don't subscribe, how will you see that video? So subscribe, like this video, drop a comment, and tell me what you want to see in my next video. And as you do that, my next video, I'll be reading my letter of intent to you to see the little bits and tricks that I use. Not tricks, but the little tips here and there that I use to gain admission. Yeah, so thank you so much for sticking with me as I talked over and over again. But I hope you learned a thing or two in this video, and I hope this helps you in your journey to Canada. Bye. Subscribe, please. Subscribe. Thank you. Bye.